Talking about creatives, it is important to have an engaging impression with an eye-catching advert and to test these for post-install performance. Could you tell us about your experience with banners, videos and playables, and how one should strategize their creatives with a mix on different channels and network?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think it should be really a core. It should be one thing that should be talked the most about in the UA world is really the creatives, right? Because I think in our world, the UA managers are to some extent really professional, and they're really knowledgeable about everything UA related, and so I like to see the whole user acquisition and like divide it into two, right? So one is, like I said before, the front end, the creative part of it. And the second is more the back end technical part, the targeting, all the technical aspects of it, basically. And I think over time, every UA manager would just like figure out the tech part of it, right? So there's only so much you can do on platforms like Facebook, Google, DSPs, or other, SDK networks and platforms. And so you'll figure out what works for you, right? And so there's only so many things that you can do and change over time. So those are for me kind of like the finite number of levers that you can use in terms of daily optimization. Whereas on the other hand, you have the creatives that are pretty much like an infinite pool that you can keep on changing, keep on testing, keep on iterating, exploring, exploiting till infinity, really, right? So that is where my attention definitely was and still is, and where it should be, I believe. My rule of thumb is really to trying to be, like native about what the creative, right? So like right now we see the classic differentiation of the platforms, the channels being like the search and paid social display, and then SDK and God knows what. And while like that is a legit way of compartmentalizing the channels, I think display itself is so huge that when it comes to creatives, it should be divided and like separated, So I think there is no way that the creative that's working for you on Facebook would then work on IG, or even worse on platforms like Snapchat or TikTok. That's why more often than not, I'm like seeing or like hearing advertisers talk to me about Snapchat and that not working for them, just because they took the exact same creatives that are running on Facebook and run on Snapchat, right? Or on TikTok. So there's like a huge stigma that TikTok doesn't work because of, I don't know, like the audience not being mature enough, the LTV not being there. And while that might be true to some extent, I think the main thing is really the creative in here, right? So you really have to be native with the creative on the platform that you're on, tailor-made it. So it just feels that it belongs to the platform and not just, not being perceived as an elephant in the room, really, because just thinking of it, Instagram, for example, is a platform that is highly curated, right? Like everything is just perfect on Instagram. So if you have like a highly CGI ad of your mobile game or whatever it is that you're advertising, that's cool. It could probably work, right? But if you go with the exact same creative and run it on TikTok or Snapchat, that is all about like the realness and the rawness of it, right? Like you don't want to be extremely and overly curated and all the post-production. You don't want that quality. You want to be, like I said, native. You want to be real. You want to be raw. You need that, a little bit of the unprofessionalism, a little bit of like the amateurness in your creative. Ideally, you also want to be entertaining, because those are the qualities of TikTok and Snapchat. And so that's the way to go. And if you don't, keep that in mind, if you don't differentiate between those aspects, I don't think that you can make your way through and really double down on each and every platform.